I'm now on the most rage-inducing map to ever be created by Wildcard after just beating Scorched Earth, and I've given myself 100 days to beat the angry mutated British dude Rockwell. Will I be able to do it? I don't know, man. Watch the video. So before we get started with day one, it's probably a good time to tell you that this is not the exact same character that I've been using for the island and Scorched. That guy is long gone. Unfortunately, he got Thanos snapped out of existence with an Arc update. Don't know why, but I was able to get a character back with all the same tech grams and ascension levels. So, you know, we're fine. What's with the lighting? Anyway, apart from the lighting being really weird, I also had to figure out my day speed, which took me a while, so the first couple of days are pretty quick. Now, clothes are also very important because they add a little bit of armor, and I also won't traumatize any unsuspecting baby dodos that walk past. Oh wow. Anyway, I had the skins from the previous bosses, so I equipped the Poison Wyvern and called it Projectile Vomit. Now, I wanted to make my starter base look relatively good, and that's fairly achievable with the steampunk skins. But because I wanted to make my little crap shack look good, I unlocked every single new thatch piece, and I didn't even know they added all this. When did they? Why? Why and when? Day 2 was spent entirely building, and I got a decent looking starter shack set up by the end of the day. Okay, so I didn't record day 3. Oops. But I did make a pen for the moss shops, which I think I tamed on day 3. So, pork belly. Anyway, I saw a Cosmo later in the day, and I tried to kill all the raptors that were near it, but I died. You Cosmo. Yes. Cosmo, come back. No, please. Please. No, my Cosmo. It's alright though, because my Cosmo did survive. And just in case, I tamed another one. Day 5, I made 2 refining forges and set out with my Cosmo to try and find something to tame. And I did find a lonely baby Ravager, so I stole him. I don't really need him, but can't hurt to have. And by the end of the day of looking, I found a level 125 Diabear, which isn't really good, but it's better than no Diabear. And Diabears have really good weight, so it'll be good to move out of the fertile lake because I hated it. What? Day 6, and I somehow find myself in the portal. I think I was just swinging around having fun, but I did tame a 115 bulb dog. And hey, what do you know, it's now day 7, and I'm gonna try and tame the Diabear. Oh my god. Amazing. While I was waiting for the Diabear to fully starve up, I tamed a 135 bulb dog. And I had the Diabear fully tamed up by the end of the day. Day 9, I finally had the Diabear saddle after having to grind out a whole bunch of chitin because for some reason it cost 100 cementing paste to make the saddle. But I loaded all my stuff up from my base and moved out of this wretched lake. Eventually, I found where I wanted to build, which was right next to the waterfall leading into the blue zone. I chose this spot because it'll be nice and central and close to the blue zone, especially because the blue zone is entirely filled with metal. So when I want to go for metal runs, I don't have to go that far. Anyway, the rest of the day was spent sorting all my things into a 2x2 because I didn't feel like building a grand estate just yet. Day 10, I really didn't do much at all, and I did back and forth metal runs with my Ravager, and I will need to get a better one soon. Mine sucks. But I also did give my Ravager a very cool name. Day 11, I don't really know what I was doing, but I found a level 135 Cosmo, which I tamed because that would be a great upgrade from the level 70 that I had. And later in the day, I got some red gems so that eventually I would be able to make a gas collector, which would also let me eventually make a hazmat suit. How did I hit that? Day 12, I tamed an otter that I named Kipper in honor of Granty. And
I'm gonna have to tame that because it is substantially better than my current bear. So I went back to base and made a large bear trap, grabbed my old trap that I used for my current bear, and trapped the new bear on day 13.
After my bear tamed, I found a 135 Ravager, which would be great to add to my slave list, employee list. While I was waiting for the Ravager to starve up, I found a 145 Roll Rat, which, if you didn't know, is the only wood harvester on Aberration. Anyway, I didn't tame it because I don't have any honey, which is the only food they take. So I returned to the Ravager, fed it, and called him Reginald. And on my way back to base, I died. Not sure how, because I thought the Cosmos stops for damage, but, you know, whatever. Day 15 was a day spent harvesting resources for the entire day, just so I could make a trap, because I wanted a Carcanos. In my opinion, they're one of the best dinos on the map, because they can hold other dinos in their claws, which will make metal runs later with an Anki a breeze. So day 16, I looked for a high level, but found none. But I did find another 145 bear that was a male this time, so I'd be able to get an imprinted bear. Just before the day ended, I found an alpha Carcanos, and I will need his trophy when I kill him if I want to do the alpha boss fight by day 100. Day 17, I tamed the dire bear and immediately started trying to get a baby with all the good stats from the parents. And I actually managed to get one by the end of the day. Day 18, and what better way to level up my new imprinted dire bear than killing an alpha Carcanos and alpha Basilisk. Oh, and also by the end of the day, I was able to find a 145 crab that I did lead into the trap. Bro! Anyway, by the time that this stupid crab even woke up, it was already day 21. I don't know why, but they take forever to wake up, even when I pump stimberries down their throat for at least 30 minutes. But the good news is, he tamed almost instantly once I did knock him out because he had been starving for at least 2 days. And before I got back to base, I killed another alpha crab and started knocking out a 150 Spino that was just chilling right outside of my base. The Spino ended up taming on day 22, and as you all should know by now, this game is incredibly well designed, and it was under the mesh. But that doesn't matter because I will not stand for things falling under the mesh. If it's drops, if it's literally anything, I will use my cosmic powers and go into the mesh myself. So that Dodic that I grabbed the other day, I'm finally knocking it out. I'm actually not quite sure what took me so long, but whatever. Now the reason that I'm taming a Dodic, if none of you know at this point, is because they are great for harvesting stone. I need to build a gate because things keep wandering into my base, and I hate it. It's just, this map, man. Day 24, and I'm in the river killing trilobites because I need the stuff to make a fabricator so that I can then make a chainsaw because I still have not found any honey for a roll rat. Anyway, it's time to build this thing. Anyway, the wall is not done by any means, but it looks semi-decent, which I'm kind of proud of. And I'm also taming 2 dung beetles for when I eventually need fertilizer for crops later. At the end of day 28, I grabbed 2 random Ankies. I didn't even really bother with the level, because if I can just dual wield Ankies and walk through the blue zone, which is entirely filled with metal, their level isn't going to even really matter, and plus, also contributing to that factor is the mod that I have. Day 29, and it is finally time to start working on my base. So I think you all know what that means. Day 32 was spent moving all of my stuff into my new base and ending the day with a fat metal run with my new Ankies. If you wanted an insight to how big of a metal run I actually did, I had 4 forges and they were all completely filled with metal and I still had more metal. Think I might need to make an industrial forge soon because that is absurd how big of a metal run you can do in the span of like 20 minutes on this map. Now that I have a house set up, I think it's time that I actually get started on progressing on this map. So I set out on that Spino that I tamed like forever ago at this point and started looking for some megalos in the blue zone. I didn't find any megalos on day 33, but I did find an anglerfish, which I do want because they are the best silica pearl harvesters on this map, and silica pearls on this map are just an absolute pain to get. Day 35, I took my anglerfish out to the lake to farm enough silica pearls to last me my entire playthrough, and on my way back I found a better hatchet being a ramshackle in a purple drop. Towards the end of the day, I made a gene scanner, 2 fridges, and a goo gun, which I never used. I don't even know why they added that thing. To end off the day, I placed more forges and started on a greenhouse because I want to tame a yearling eventually, and they require that flash bang plant thingy, so I'm gonna need that eventually. Day 36, I was looking for a male Spino because, as you should all know by now, I want a big cesspool of Spinos so that I can have a whole bunch of fertilized eggs to level up my future creatures. And I ended up finding a 130, which is good enough for me because these are only going to be used for eggs, so it didn't really have to bother with high levels, but so I knocked it out and let it start starving. And while I was waiting, I killed another alpha crab because I seemed to be able to find like hundreds of them, and I also did a cave. You know, for fun.
Damn. There we go.
Anyway, when I got back, I immediately started trying to get some eggs because I would need some eggs to tame some oviraptors so that I wouldn't have to individually go in and collect the eggs like I had to do on Scorched. Because Scorched is still the only map without an oviraptor, unless you count Lost Colony, even though it's not out yet. But I did also make my greenhouse, and you know, it's nothing special. I tried to make it look a little bit nice, but at the end of the day, it's still just a greenhouse. And I only did 2 other things on day 38. Tame oviraptors for almost the entire day and do a crystal run with my Ankies. Yeah, I'm not even sure I'm on track to even beat this map by day 100 at this point. Day 39, I had enough stuff lying around in my fabricator to make a grill, industrial preserving bin, which I gotta be honest, I kind of forgot that they added that. But I'm glad they did. It makes making jerky a lot easier. And a chemistry bench. And then I checked on my flash bomb plants. I still don't know what they're called, to be honest. And I saw that I had enough, so now is a perfect time to go out and look for a yearling because I want to steal some rock drakes really soon because I'm sick of walking around this entire map with a bear. It's so slow. And I did look for a yearling until I gave up on day 41 because I realized this is just not worth it for some little rodent in the sky that just shoots you. I hate these things that I did do on day 41 is I added more baby Spinos to grow in the little chamber that I have created for all of the egg gathering. And I also started raising a baby Spino that ended up getting all the good stats because I would need something strong for when I go down to the Rock Drake Trench because I couldn't get a yearling. And my Spino was fully grown by the end of the day, so I leveled him up the way that anyone should with making him eat his siblings. I love this game. Day 42, and today is the day. Time to dive down into the Rock Drake Trench. Oh!
Yoink.
15 minutes is all that took. Stealing rock drake eggs with the Cosmo is quite possibly the easiest thing that I've ever done on this map. Yay.
Yeah. Oh, sick.
Day 44 was spent going around the blue and green zone trying to look for red gems because I knew there was a spot
either in the blue or green zone where you could get red gems, but I just didn't know where it was. Don't know why I didn't just go to the red zone, but anyway. Bruh. Oh my god. What? And now it's updating? Are you fucking real? Anyway, I did end up finding some red gems in a little spot in the blue zone. And now I finally have a rock drake saddle, and it is really nice to be able to go fast on this map again. Day 45, I tamed oviraptors. Yep. And day 46, I thought it was just about time to start looking for megalos. So that's what I did all day.
Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Today we're playing Aberration. And I just started recording. Right now, I'm feeding my Spino. Peace.
I hate you
Yeah,
so
I
much.
swear to God, if you put that in that recording.
It's going in. It's going in now. Oh my god, yes. Hello. Based.
Yeah, baby.
Anyway, I got bored looking for megalos, so I went out with my rock drake to the surface to see if I could try and get some good loot. Hello? Ooh. Day 50, and it is now time to start looking for more megalos. I settled for taming a 110 female megalo, only because I didn't know if I was going to be able to find a good megalo, so I just settled for a bad female, but I would still keep looking for a good one. Day 51, I tamed a 145 male megalo, because it was a little bit better than the other one that I had tamed, but it is still not a good female, so I have to keep looking. Day 52 was finally the day that I found a good level female megalo, being a 135. And you know what this means? I can finally stop looking for these stupid lizards. When I got back to base, I started making tons of vaults because the storage boxes were just not cutting it anymore. Day 53, the 145 megalo and 135 were finally tamed, so I set them out in my base to start the breeding process. And I also painted my hazmat gear to the main colors that I put on my clothes.
Leave me alone!
Anyway, apart from that weird coincidence, I started taming a 125 Yeeling because, why not? Yes! Day 55, I started making structures so that I could finish off my wall, and I found out that there was a piano in this game. And then I started working on my wall, and I am constantly breeding the megalos during this entire time. And on day 56, I finally finished my wall and got the perfect breeding pair of megalos that I needed. And on day 57, I did some scavenging on the surface, and I did the same on day 58 as well. And I'm gonna be honest, unless I get something genuinely important, I'm not gonna really bother showing any of the stuff that I get because I am really lazy. Like, genuinely, I recorded all this in 2 weeks in October, and it's now December. Yeah, I didn't feel like editing this, in case you guys couldn't tell. Day 59, I did a big metal run, and started raising some of my boss megalos. Day 60 was mostly spent raising megalos, but when I was done with that, I decided to get all the light pets, because, you know, they're cool. So I forgot to record day 62, but I'm pretty sure I was just leveling myself up with Spinos the entire time because I still need to get to the max level because this is not the same character that I had on Scorched. So I continued doing that for most of the day and eventually went down to the Rock Drake den to see if I can get some better eggs. I didn't really get any good Rock Drake eggs, but I still ended up hatching a 135 and a 120. Day 65 was entirely spent raising more megalos. And by the way, don't ask about the Rock Drakes. Just don't ask about them. And day 66 was literally just spent killing more babies. What can I say, bro? I needed the max level. Right. Anyway, I just spent the entire day out on the surface trying to get good loot from drops. I also did drop hunting on day 68, day 69, and finally stopped on day 70 when I decided to make an industrial forge, because I just had, you know, the stuff to make that apparently. Day 71, I set out to the edge of the blue zone with a Reaper trap because I wanted a Reaper, obviously. So I was looking for one until I eventually got one into the trap on day 73. Oh. Okay. Oh, it worked. It worked this time. Okay, so I think this little guy's gonna come out as like a 197. Ooh. Ugh. Yep, 197. Jeez, bro, you're big. Oh. So the base level of the Reaper that you get impregnated by, if you times that by the number that it says that it will get times by in the bottom right when you're impregnated, and then you plus however many levels you get with the XP, that is how you figure out what level it'll come out as. Now 197 isn't that bad. Day 74, I went back down to the Rock Drake den to try and get some better Rock Drake babies with better stats so that I could eventually make a really good Rock Drake. And I also hunted for Basilisks because it's about time I start getting all the tributes that I need. Day 75, I tamed a Basilisk. Yeah, I don't really know why. I think I just decided why not. And the rest of the day was spent leveling up my fully grown and imprinted Megalos. What in the what? the... Day 76 was also mostly leveling up my Megalos, but just before the end of the day I went back out to the Rock Drake Trench. Got really bored of the Rock Drake den, so on day 77 I went up to the surface and stayed there until day 80. Oh, and there's not even any point in me telling you what I got because I threw it all on the ground and forgot about it, and it was really good stuff as well. But I did make a library storage because you can chuck a whole bunch of blueprints into it and connect them to crafting stations that you have around in its radius, and it's pretty useful because it makes it so that a blueprint won't take up a slot. Day 81 was spent getting a whole bunch of obsidian because I wanted to make that Ascendant shotgun blueprint, but then I realized I don't have time nor the patience to do that, so I just installed a stacking mod. Let's get it going. Bro! That sucks! Day 83, I decided to do the Hidden Grotto Cave, so I did. And on day 84, I decided to do the Red Zone Cave as well. Also, I gotta say, this cave is probably the buggiest one out of the few, in case you couldn't tell. But it doesn't surprise me, it is Ark, and on top of that, it is Aberration. And I stole a Stego so that I could start taming it on day 85, because I was sick of gathering berries with my dire bear. And now that I have this Stego, it's time to do some lawn mowing, so that I can make a heap ton of medical brews. Day 86 and I'm in the Rock Drake den again. But good news this time because I actually have some good stats to raise. Day 87 and I was making brews and stews for the boss fight. And when it got to nighttime, I went out to the surface again. Day 90 and I have actually found a beehive. It took me 90 days to find a beehive. I don't get this game sometimes. Day 91, I spent all day just raising rock drakes and trying to get all the stats combined together onto one good rock drake. And in the night of day 92, I finally had a rock drake with all of the good stats combined onto it. Day 93, the only mentionable thing that I actually did was make a Zeppelin that I only used like once, because it's to the point where I'm really close to day 100 and I need to start doing a whole bunch of extra bits of work to get fully ready for the boss fight, like making bullets. Oh! Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's the one. And day 95 was more of the same, just grinding out for the boss fight. Day 96, and I made an industrial forge. Another one. Yeah, I don't really know why but oh well. And I also leveled up my Reaper. Day 97 and day 98 was spent out on the surface trying to see if I could get a good Rock Drake saddle just before I go into the boss fight. Also, turns out I found and killed an Alpha Reaper at some point. I don't really know when that happened. I probably forgot to record it, in all honesty, but I just thought I'd mention that. Day 99, and I have everything ready, and it is time to head down to Rockwell's spawn arena. And I did need about 20 nameless venom and some to heal my Rock Drake because they get healed 100 health per nameless venom. So I spent the rest of day 99 just killing nameless.
It is day 100. Okay, I'm not really worried for this boss fight, to be honest. If I just play it smart, then I'm not gonna. Just more so, this boss fight is tedious and annoying, and I hate it. And why? Oh, I need one more Basilisk Scale. Are you kidding me? Alright. I'm scared.
I'm not really worried for this boss fight.
No!
Fuck!
Well, guess that's it. Wait. What would he do?
Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Yeah, I want it louder though. Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Let's run! Let's go!
Okay, here we are. So, lots of reworking has gone into this. I had to get like fairly good Rock Drakes because, well, I chucked all mine out because I was very confident that I wasn't gonna fail the boss fight, and then, you know, I did, but that's my skill issue. Okay, bit nervous though. I know I can't really lose this time. So, you know, that's okay. Anyway, let's just start this stupid thing. Come on. Come on, so close. Why does this tentacle have so much health? Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Yes! Yes!